Hello and welcome to Glass Half Full Reviews, where we leave your hate at the door. Today I am going to be reviewing and deconstructing the latest 2 episodes of Louie. Yeah, so obviously I'm wearing the classic Louie costume, which is just a black t-shirt, and that's it, for all you know. So, why don't we get started? Episode 1. The first new episode of this week is called So Did the Fat Lady, and there's some interesting things we can talk about with this one. I would say that there's only one real theme, but there's some interesting motifs, and definitely some interesting things we can talk about. Society places value on appearances, and although taste and perspective differ and change over time, one thing that has been true for a long time is that it's easier for guys. Although it's true that women can find affection.
I mean, I can get laid. Any woman who is willing can get laid. I don't want that.
Piercing the barrier of embarrassment to find true love is difficult for those who aren't considered conventionally attractive. This episode explores the dichotomy between how heterosexual guys view themselves and how those same guys view women. Because let's not kid ourselves. This story's happy ending is Louie overcoming his shame at appearances to try to connect with someone he isn't instantly attracted to. And why? Because he's shamed into acceptance by a speech from a frustrated fat girl. But to reach his epiphany, Louie must take a parallel arc to Vanessa, the unlikely love interest. Louie's lack of physical fitness is offset by his brother Robbie, who is even less fit. And yet, Robbie is far more honest about it.
Don't look at me like that. We need to lose some weight.
This honesty causes shame in Louie, because he will be forced to acknowledge his gluttony. But I'll get back to that in a minute. Vanessa's arc begins as a waitress in a comedy club. It's very out of place. Louie has hit on every other waitress as seen in last week's episode.
Are you asking me my name? What's your name?
The episode makes pains to show the way Louie is being influenced by shame, although Vanessa has her own story. She doesn't care for comedy.
And I do not like comedy.
You don't?
No, I hate it.
But she finds Louie interesting and attractive. She has some history with other comedians, like Dave Attell, yet she's focused on Louie. Compare these reactions. When watching Vanessa, Jim Norton appears from the shadows, another manifestation of Louie's shame and sociological terror.
Yuck.
He is once again a devil on Louie's shoulder, oppressing his thoughts, as we cannot clearly see his face. Suddenly, Louie is embarrassed, yet the episode sneaks in something, a little moment that isn't from Louie's perspective. When Louie finally agrees to go out with Vanessa, she reacts adorably. Why would the show choose this one moment that isn't from Louie's point of view? Now, it must seem obvious, but I'll say it anyway. It is because she's a real person, and not only Louie's feelings matter. Why does Louie not notice the judgmental glare of the restaurant host during his ludicrous bang bang? And yet, he becomes self-conscious at his brother's honesty to the diner's waitress. Louie's arc in this episode is discovering the truth. That if fat guys have it bad.
So did the fat lady.
Louis C.K.'s words come out of Vanessa's mouth during her brilliant 7-minute speech that is itself unusually honest.
And the worst part is, I'm not even supposed to do this.
So the honesty of someone haunting Louis, but this time, Robbie was the force of truth in his head. When Louis overcomes his hang-ups, the two arcs collide, and Vanessa gets what she wants. And Louis is immensely pleased with himself.
It's good, right?
Caught on.
So it's a step closer to true self-honesty. A step closer to equality. And finally, let's move on to the second new episode, Elevator Part 1, which of course is the first in a series of 3 episodes in a specific arc. And there's some interesting things to talk about this time, which, nothing new for this show, right? The name of the episode is evocative in what it's saying and what it's not saying. An elevator is a transition between two places, a portal from one world to another through the magic of technology. And a subway train is a similar sort of portal. When Jane steps through the subway doors, she is pushing at the boundaries of reality.
Jane! Jane!
When Louie wakes up the Hungarian lady in her apartment, he is breaking another dream, imposing the potential of reality's dangers on the potential nightmares of dreamland. Who is the stranger that asks Jane if she's lost, whose hand is all we see? She believes that she's not lost, because she can see the artificiality of reality and the TV show. We don't see the man's face because Jane doesn't see it, because she thinks it's a dream, and in dreams, the faces of strangers flicker in and out of view and memory. The stand-up of this episode is about Louie raising his daughters to become women, and suddenly, the theme reveals itself. Because Louie wants to protect his daughters from the dangers of reality, but he can't. He offers subway rules to create safety, and yet breaks down when control is lost. So his other daughter tries to show clarity.
Dad, it's gonna be okay. Dad, stop. It's gonna be okay. Okay, she knows the subway rules.
And maturity.
It's not her fault.
She's becoming the sort of woman Louie is hoping for, but he doesn't realize it. Just like the Hungarian woman doesn't realize Louie's only there trying to help. It's difficult to find truth in reality, when everything seems so chaotic and arbitrary. It's a secret joy of dreams that no matter how bad they get, you can always wake up.
Why did you do that, Jane?
I like this dream. This is the best.
No, it's not a good dream.
We all need assurances it'll be okay, and though Louie's ex-wife acts as the dream breaker, she still must knock on wood to check for herself if she's awake. This leads to the other segment, but we must prepare for absurdity with the seemingly incongruous phone call about cable providers.
Your hold time may be up to 7,000 seconds.
It seems out of place, despite being a hilarious highlight of the episode, until you realize it adds to the unreality of Louie's day, especially once you know the voice is Pamela Adlon, Louie's frequent co-writer, and the one who played his one-sided crush seasons ago. I was once stuck on an elevator and had to climb out between floors while somebody used a crowbar to jam the doors open. Once you live through that, either you choose to accept it or live in fear. Living like everything's a dream with no stakes is no way to live. So the segment is simple. An old lady is stuck, a soldier in her war against technology. Stuck in the uncertainty of the element, open and closed, a Schrodinger's cat metaphor between dreaming and waking. Or maybe I'm reading too much into it. Because the lesson is that Louie is just doing his best, but gets how dangerous life can be for women. The rules only protect so far against home intruders. Humor is found in the perfect timing of the siren to match Louie's awkward fear of miscommunication.
On the elevator! Your aunt is in the elevator! Your aunt is in the elevator!
Yet all is made good with food, and Louie's greatest gift, laughter. So, humanity wins this day. So, those were episodes 3 and 4 of the new season of Louie, and they were pretty great. You know, no big deal, just like they always are. And I'm really interested to see how this new storyline concludes. I mean, last time we had one on was The Late Show, and that was great. So, this will be interesting to see. Thanks for stopping by. Jimmy, 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 Jimmy. Jimmy, 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 Jimmy,